Beerus snored. He lay on his side on the small purple world that was his home, tail curled, one leg twitching every now and then. Empty plates and bowls floated lazily in the air around him. A half-finished drink bobbed up and down beside his ear. Whis stood a short distance away, staff planted lightly on the ground. His eyes were half closed, but he was not asleep. Angels did not sleep. He was listening. At first it was only a hint, a wrong note on a huge invisible string. The song of the multiverse was usually smooth to him, even when it was loud. Now, somewhere far beyond their own reality, something crackled out of tune. He raised his staff. The orb at the top glowed soft blue. "Oh my," Whis murmured. "That is unusual." A pulse rolled through the staff. Images flickered in the orb. A green stone, a blue one, a red one. 6 lights in all, flaring, clashing, bending time and space in a way that felt clumsy but strong. He saw a purple-skinned titan raising a gauntlet. He saw worlds vanish. He saw a group of strange heroes standing together on a ruined field. He saw fear, rage, and hope tangled together. "Stones that move fate," Whis said softly. Behind him, Beerus snorted and rolled onto his back. One ear twitched. Whis turned. "Lord Beerus." Beerus's eyes opened halfway. "Too loud," he grumbled. "Why are you talking so much?" Whis smiled. "I do apologize. There seems to be a very noisy universe nearby. Its balance is unstable. I thought you might be interested." "Not really," Beerus said. Then the orb flashed again, and one of the images sharpened. A beam of rainbow light cut across space. A planet cracked. Half of a galaxy flickered, then went dark. Beerus sat up. What was that? His pupils narrowed, sharp and alert now. Whis turned the staff so Beerus could see. Another universe is using a crude but powerful set of artifacts. 6 stones, each tied to a basic rule. Time, space, mind, soul, power, reality. Together they change things in a way that upsets the tune. Artifacts that push around time and space, Beerus said. Mortals playing with it. Mostly, Whis said. And one very driven titan. Beerus stretched his arms over his head. Joints popped. That sounds annoying. It might become more than that, Whis said. If their actions spill past their own universe, the balance of others could be at risk. Beerus flicked away a floating plate with one finger. So you are saying their mess could reach us? It is possible, Whis said. Or at least, their noise will keep you from getting proper sleep. Beerus frowned. And you waited until now to tell me? Whis chuckled. You seemed very comfortable, Lord Beerus. Beerus stood in one smooth motion. His tail swayed. Fine. Show me this place. If it is worth my time, I will judge it. If not, he opened his hand. A small purple flame of destruction, Hakai, danced on his palm. I erase it and go home. As you wish, Whis said. He tapped the ground with his staff. The orb flared. Space in front of them tore open like a curtain, but without sound or wind. On the other side, stars twisted into a spiral. The glow of the stones pulsed like a heartbeat. As they stepped toward the rift, the multiverse around them hummed louder. Beerus could feel it now. Something off, something forced. Stones that decide who lives and who dies, he muttered. How greedy. Do be careful, Whis said in his gentle tone. Their rules are not our rules, but of course, you are you. Beerus smirked. Exactly. They stepped through. The feeling of crossing was short but deep. For a moment, Beerus felt nothing at all. No stars, no key, no time. Then everything crashed in at once. They emerged into cold black space. An earth hung below them. Blue oceans, white clouds, a ring of broken metal and debris. a fleet of warships hovered near the planet. The ships were sharp, ugly things with glowing engines and weapon bays. Energy blasts rained down toward a defense station in orbit. One glowing figure darted between the blasts, golden hair lit with light, blue and red suit. Carol Danvers slammed through one of the ships, ripping straight through the hull, and it exploded behind her. "They really picked a bad day," she muttered, as she turned and fired twin energy beams at another ship. Beerus watched with interest. "Strong for a mortal," he said. "Reminds me of someone." Whis tilted his head. "Her energy is very dense for this universe," he agreed. "They call her Captain Marvel here." Another volley of blasts cut across space. One beam slashed past Carol and ripped into the defense station. Metal cracked. Pieces broke away. Alarms on the station blared. Beerus pinched the bridge of his nose. Noisy, very noisy. One of the larger warships swung toward them. Its sensors picked up 2 new energy sources. Cannons rotated, targets locked. A cluster of bright blasts flew straight at Beerus and Whis. Whis gave a tiny sigh. "They seem unfriendly." Beerus didn't even turn his head. He lifted his hand and flicked his fingers. A small purple spark appeared in front of him, no bigger than a marble. It shot forward, touched the incoming blasts, and swallowed them. Then it kept going. The spark hit the warship's hull. There was no explosion. The ship simply crumbled into dust, piece by piece, erased from existence. The dust spread into nothing. In seconds, the huge warship was gone. The shockwave of its vanishing rocked the other ships. Carol stopped mid-flight. "What was that?" she whispered. The rest of the fleet began to spin. Some fired wildly in panic. Others turned to flee. Beerus finally looked their way. "Leave," he said, voice calm but sharp. "You are too loud." Half the fleet jumped to faster-than-light travel at once. The rest were cut apart by Carol, still staring at the spot where the ship had been. On Earth, many systems screamed at once. In the Avengers compound, an alarm blared in Tony Stark's lab. Red lines spiked across his screens. In the Sanctum Sanctorum, relics trembled on their shelves. A golden ring of magic flared to life over Strange's hand. On a hidden space station, Nick Fury turned to a display with wide eyes. "That energy reading, what the hell is that?" High above the planet, 2 figures floated in space side by side. One in a white robe with a staff. One in purple and black, ears pointed, tail swaying. Beerus eyed the blue world below. "Noisy," he said again, but there was a hint of a smile now. "Bright, fragile, but stubborn. This might be fun." He narrowed his eyes. Or it might be annoying enough to erase. Tony Stark hated surprises. He especially hated surprises that broke his graphs. He stood in front of a wall of holoscreens. Armor open around his chest and shoulders. Numbers and charts flickered. A 3D globe of Earth spun in the middle. At the edge of the globe, near orbit, a purple spike climbed straight off the scale. "Run that again," Tony said. Friday's calm voice filled the lab. "Rerunning, boss. Same result. New energy source detected. Magnitude, off charts, comparison, higher than anything on record, including the snap and the blip." "Higher than a full gauntlet fire?" Tony asked. "Yes," Friday said, "by a factor that makes my graphs sad." "Great," Tony muttered. He tapped his wrist. "Everyone lab, now." Across the compound, doors opened. Boots hit floors. Steve Rogers paused his training and grabbed his shield. Natasha, if present in this timeline, slipped a handgun into her holster out of habit, even though it would be useless in space. Bruce wiped his hands on a lab coat and hurried after them. Rhodey floated down in his war machine armor. They all gathered in the lab as the displays rearranged into a neat array. "This looks bad," Bruce said right away. "I don't even need the science words. That's bad." Thor stepped closer, brow furrowed. "I have felt great power before," he said. "The Bifrost, Odin, Hela, Thanos with his cursed stones. This feels different." His hand tightened around his hammer. "Different how?" Steve asked. Thor frowned. "Colder, older, as if it does not care about anything we know." "Love the mood," Tony said. "Okay, quick version. Something pulled a warship out of existence like it was a candle and someone pinched it. No explosion, no pieces, just gone." "Carol was there," Steve said. "Is she okay?" "Got her on comm just before you came in," Tony said. "She's fine. Or as fine as you can be when a purple space, something shows up and does your job for you." Natasha crossed her arms. "So we have an unknown cosmic entity near Earth, stronger than Thanos at his worst. Great." Bruce looked at the graphs again. "This energy, it doesn't match Gamma. It doesn't match the stones. It's something else entirely." In the Sanctum Sanctorum, Dr. Strange studied his own set of images. The eye of Agamotto glowed faintly, even though the time stone it once held was gone. The cloak of levitation fluttered over his shoulder, restless. Magic circles spun in the air with strange patterns, reacting to a new presence. Wong stood beside him, arms folded. "It's not one of ours," Wong said. "Not a demon we know. Not a creature from the dark dimension. It feels like a rule from another book." Strange nodded slowly. "Something that does not belong to our reality, but it's here now." He opened a portal with a smooth gesture. "We should join the others." On a screen in a secret base, Nick Fury stared at a grainy replay of the erased ship. He jabbed a finger at the purple figure in the image. "Find me everything about that," he told the techs. "I want language, energy readings, fuzzy photos, kids' crayon drawings. If someone saw a purple Catman in the sky, I want it on my desk." In orbit, Carol floated, breathing hard. She watched the last escape streak of the unknown fleet vanish into space. Her hair drifted around her face in weightlessness. Her eyes kept going back to the empty spot where the ship had been. Then she saw them. Two small shapes against the starfield. No helmets, no suits. It made no sense. She flew toward them, energy glowing around her. "Identify yourselves," she shouted as she drew near. "This is Captain Marvel of..." The tall one in white smiled and raised a hand in greeting. "Greetings," Whis said. "I am Whis. This is Lord Beerus, God of Destruction." Beerus did not bother to wave. He glanced at Carol and then back to Earth. "You nearly had them," he said, "but you took too long. It was boring." Carol blinked. "God of... Okay, sure. You're a god, and I'm late for movie night." She narrowed her eyes. "You just erased that ship." "Yes," Beerus said. "It was making a mess." "That's not an answer," she said. "It is to me," Beerus said with a shrug. Whis stepped slightly forward. "We are not from this universe," he said gently. "We came because your people have been using certain tools, 6 stones that twist the basic rules. Their noise reached us. Lord Beerus wished to see if your universe needs correction." "Correction," Carol repeated. "As in, you blow it up if you don't like it?" Beerus actually thought about it. "If it feels wrong enough," he said, "or if it makes it impossible to nap." Carol stared. "That's not comforting." A bright golden circle opened in space beside them, sparks flying at its rim. A portal. Out of it stepped Dr. Strange, cloak floating, breathing with effort in the vacuum only because of magic. Behind him, Iron Man hovered, armor sealed. Thor drifted with his hammer in hand, unbothered by space. "Okay," Tony said. "Nobody told me we were having a space god party." Beerus turned his head, ears twitching. He looked at Tony's armor, at Strange's magic, at Thor's aura of thunder. "These must be your heroes," he said to Whis. "Some of them," Whis agreed. "They are quite popular." Steve's voice came over comms from the ground. "Tony, what are we looking at?" Tony's HUD showed Beerus's outline, glowing with unreadable energy. "I have no idea," Tony said. "But either we've met a new friend, or we're all in serious trouble." He lifted a hand anyway. "Hi, Earth's one of many defenders. Tony Stark. Can we talk before anyone erases anything else?" Beerus looked at the little armored human and smirked. "Yes," he said. "Let's talk. I want to see what kind of universe thinks it can handle stones that move fate." They brought Beerus and Wise down to Earth. It was not easy. Strange opened a portal that led to a cleared landing field at the Avengers compound. Thor flew through first, hammer ready. Tony followed, hovering. Carol stayed in orbit for a moment, watching the purple god, then flew after them. Wiz and Beerus stepped calmly through the glowing ring of magic as if it were a doorway to a garden. The air at the compound shimmered as they emerged. Flags flapped gently in the breeze. A line of heroes waited. Steve stood at the front, shield on his arm. Natasha, if present, stood slightly behind, eyes sharp. Bruce shifted nervously. Rhodey's war machine armor hummed. Wanda watched with wary eyes. Peter Parker crouched on a nearby railing in his suit, unable to stop staring at Beerus's ears. Beerus scanned the group. He saw pride, fear, curiosity. He saw no one kneeling. That was interesting. Steve stepped forward. "Welcome to Earth," he said. "I'm Steve Rogers." Beerus looked at the hand Steve offered. He took it, barely squeezing. "Beerus," he said, "God of Destruction." Steve did not flinch. "Okay," he said. "That's a big title. Can we understand what that means for us?" Tony's voice muttered quietly in Steve's earpiece. "Careful, Capsicle. We don't know his ego size yet." Tony stepped up beside Steve. "Tony Stark," he said. "I'm the one with the anxiety graphs that went crazy when you showed up." Beerus looked at his armor. "You are like that other armored mortal in my universe, the one who yells a lot and breaks things." Tony blinked. "I feel like I should be offended, but I'm curious. We can trade stories later." Thor came forward, cape moving in the wind. "I am Thor, son of Odin, king of..." Beerus waved a hand. "Yes, yes, another thunder god. Your key is decent. Your hammer is cute." Thor's jaw tightened. "Cute." Whis walked forward with a polite smile. "Please forgive Lord Beerus's direct manner," he said. "He's very honest. This is quite new for him as well." Peter whispered over the channel. Mr. Stark, is that a giant purple cat? In Egyptian cosplay?" Tony coughed. "Kid, mute." But it was too late. Beerus's ear flicked. He turned his head slowly toward the young hero on the railing. "What did you call me?" Spider-Man froze. I said, that's a very regal feline, sir." Wanda's lips twitched. Rhodey looked away. Steve cleared his throat. Beerus narrowed his eyes. "I am a god," he said. "Not a pet." Wiss's staff hummed softly. "Lord Beerus, remember, they are unfamiliar with your kind," he said calmly. "And cats are worshipped in some cultures." Beerus grunted. "They should worship properly then." Peter, still hanging upside down now because he panicked and flipped, mumbled, "Space cat god, Got it. The words went straight into every open comm channel. Tony groaned. Natasha closed her eyes, but a tiny smile tugged at Wiss's lips. Steve took a breath. You said you came because of our stones, he said. Can you tell us what you plan to do now that you're here? Beerus crossed his arms. I plan to see if your universe knows how to keep balance, he said. You let mortals twist time and life with toys. His eyes flicked to Strange, who felt a chill. You break planets, you snap away half of life, and then back again. Very noisy. Bruce swallowed. You know about that? Wiss nodded. The snap of those stones could be felt across many layers, he said. It shook things. It woke some beings. It woke Lord Beerus. Tony's fingers twitched near his wrist controls. He saw Friday's warnings in his HUD. Every sensor around Beerus was maxed out. And if you decide we're out of balance, Tony asked. Then I'd destroy what needs destroying, Beerus said simply. Sometimes that means a city, sometimes a planet, sometimes more. Steve held his gaze. We're not perfect, he said, but we're trying. If you're going to judge us, at least see the full picture first. Beerus snorted. I will. That's why I am here. Somewhere far away, in a Gothic castle, a man in green and iron watched this meeting on several screens. Dr. Doom's mask hid his expression, but his eyes were bright behind it. A god of destruction, he said softly, from another universe, stronger than the Titan, and so careless with his power. He turned away from the screen and moved to a table covered in schematics. We will see how careless you are, purple god, he said. Even gods can be measured. In a distant corner of the cosmos, a huge bald figure looked down from a moon. Uatu the Watcher watched the new god and the small group of heroes below him. He saw the way the lines of fate bent around Beerus. He saw futures split like branches when Beerus spoke. I should not act, Uatu said to himself. I should only watch. But his gaze lingered. Back at the compound, the tense welcome meeting ended with no blood. Steve, Tony, and Strange led Whis and Beerus inside. Thor whispered to Banner, Have you ever felt such power? Bruce pushed his glasses up. I don't even think I can model it, he said. We are ants standing next to a tank. Natasha leaned toward Tony. So what's the plan? Tony's tone was dry. Step 1, don't get erased. Step 2, figure out step 3. Later, in a glass-walled conference room, the core team gathered without their guests. Outside, Beerus walked along the compound grounds, glancing at the trees and buildings like a judge at a strange contest. Wisey floated behind him, peaceful. Inside, tension thickened the air. We can't keep letting cosmic strangers stroll onto our planet, Rhodey said. We need a system. We do have a system, Steve said. We show up, we talk, we try not to shoot first. Natasha raised an eyebrow. That's not really a system, Steve. That's a wish. Bruce rubbed his temples. You saw the readings, he said. If he wanted to, he could destroy this whole planet even if we had every stone. I don't like the idea of making him angry, but I also don't like just trusting him. Dr. Strange rested his hands on the table. He's not like our gods, Strange said. He's a rule, a function. His power is tied to some cosmic law in his own universe. Angels, gods of destruction. It is a whole system we know nothing about. Can we bind him? Tony asked. Magic cage, pocket dimension, time loop. Strange shook his head. Maybe for a moment. But if we try and fail, we will not get a second chance. Steve looked around the table. He said he's here to see if we deserve to be destroyed, he said. We've faced that before. Weapons aimed at our planet. People who thought we should be wiped out. The answer has always been the same. We show them who we are. So we... What? Entertain him? Rhodey asked. Put on a good show so the space cat god doesn't smash us? From a speaker on the wall, Friday added helpfully, "His tail did move when we mentioned snacks, sir." Tony pointed at the speaker. "We are not bribing him with food." Everyone turned to stare at him. "Okay, we might also bribe him with food," Tony added. "But that's not the main plan. The main plan is we show him our best, and I build armor that maybe won't explode on first contact." Steve nodded. "We treat him like someone we might have to fight, but also like someone we don't want to turn into an enemy." Strange glanced toward the window, where Beerus was now poking a tree with one finger. The tree shivered as if it had feelings. "I will talk to his attendant," Strange said. "This whiz, he knows more than he says. If we understand their rules, we might find a way to keep this balance without losing ourselves." "And if he gets bored?" Bruce asked. Everyone fell silent. Tony leaned back in his chair. "Then we make sure this universe is the most interesting, most insane place a god has ever seen," he said. "So interesting that even a destruction god wants to stick around to see what happens next." Steve almost smiled. "We're good at insane," he said. "Yeah," Tony said. "Too good." On the training field, Beerus strolled to the edge of the cliff overlooking the trees. Whis floated beside him. "What do you think, Lord Beerus?" he asked. "First impressions." Beerus watched a group of children in a nearby town playing with a red and gold toy figure that looked like Iron Man. He watched a school bus go by. He watched a news drone hover, trying to get a shot of him from afar. "Messy," he said, "but the mortals here are loud. They cling to life very hard. That could be interesting." Whis smiled. "That is high praise coming from you." Beerus said. He crossed his arms. "We will see." Night fell on Earth, but not all threats waited for day. Far above, in a region of space most beings never reached, a shape moved slowly. It was bigger than a city. Its armor was black and gold. Its eyes were stars. A celestial woke. It had slept through wars and snaps. It had watched galaxies tilt. Its purpose was simple: judge worlds and correct them. The rip that Beerus and Whis had made when they came through hummed against its senses. The snap of the stones echoed. The erasure of the warship left a hole in the pattern. Unbalanced, the celestial thought. Broken notes. Wrong hands on the strings. It turned toward the source. Energy gathered in its chest like a rising sun. On Earth at 3 a.m, Friday chimed in Tony's ear. "Boss, you should wake up." Tony groaned and peeled the arc reactor cover off his chest. "What now?" "New anomaly detected," Friday said. "Bigger than the last one. Heading toward Earth." In the sanctum, Stranger's eyes snapped open in his meditation pose. The magic around him spiked into jagged shapes. Atop the compound roof, Beerus already stood with his arms folded, looking up at the sky. Whis hovered beside him, calm as always. "It seems your presence has attracted a local judge," Whis said. "A celestial. How exciting." Beerus stared at the growing light in space. "Exciting?" he said. "It is disturbing my visit." Wise tilted his head. "You could see it that way," he said. "Or you could view it as a welcome gift, a test of this universe's strength and your mood." Beerus's tail flicked slowly. Down below, alarms blared. The Avengers scrambled again. Thor grabbed his hammer. Carol shot into the sky. Strange opened portals. Hulk tore out of his sweats. green growing stronger with each heartbeat. The celestial came closer. It dwarfed the moon. Its hand, when raised, could cover continents. Rows of glowing sigils lit up on its armor as it began to draw energy from the space around Earth. Oceans shifted. Clouds spun the wrong way. Electrical storms flashed where there should have been clear skies. "Is that a friend of yours?" Tony asked as he flew up next to Beerus, armor snapping into place around him. "No," Beerus said, "but it is rude." Thor joined them, cape billowing. "That is no mere threat," he said. "I have heard tales of such beings, creation and judgment wrapped in one. Even Odin feared their gaze." Beerus did not look impressed. "It is loud," he said again. Carol hovered in front of them, eyes blazing. "We stop it before it fries the planet," she said. "Same as any other day." Strange opened a portal beside them, linking to a platform higher in the sky. "Everyone, coordinate," he called. "We hit it together. Spread the force." Hulk roared from another portal as he leaped into the air, already aiming for the giant's chest. The Celestial raised one massive hand. A beam of white gold energy blasted down toward Earth. Thor spun his hammer and flew straight into the beam, pushing lightning into it. Carol fired photon blasts to meet it. Stark redirected extra shield power. Strange layered magic shields. Circles of golden light that strained under the impact. The beam slowed, but it did not stop. On the ground, buildings shook. Windows shattered. Tide lines trembled. Beerus watched, arms still folded. He saw the heroes pushing with everything they had. "They are brave," he said, "but that thing does not care." Whisk glanced at him. "Will you let it test them alone?" he asked. The beam crept closer to Earth's atmosphere. Strange gritted his teeth. Carol screamed with effort. Hulk punched the air and roared, trying to throw sheer force into the blast. Beerus sighed. "Fine," he said. He raised one hand, palm open toward the beam. From his fingers, a small sphere of purple energy floated forward. It looked gentle, almost lazy. It drifted up, touched the edge of the Celestial's beam, and the beam began to crumble. The white gold light broke apart into grey dust, dissolving before it reached the planet. The Celestial's hand jerked back, fingers curling as if burned. Beerus's eyes gleamed. "So," he said, "you're one of the judges of this universe. You think you get to decide what lives and what dies." He shot forward. To the heroes, he became a streak of purple and black. One moment, he was by their side. The next, he stood on the Celestial's massive chest, balanced on nothing, looking up at its metal face. The Celestial raised the other hand, trying to swat him like a bug. Beerus hopped lightly to the side. The impact made space itself ripple, but it did not touch him. He tapped the Celestial's hand with one fingertip. The metal dented. Not much, but enough. Thor's eyes widened. "He tapped it," Thor said. "He barely touched it." Hulk's jaw dropped. "Big metal guy. Feels it," he muttered. Wanda hovered near Strange, watching with tense eyes. "His energy feels wrong," she said softly, "like it doesn't belong in our reality at all." Strange nodded. "That might be why it cuts through so easily," he said. "The Celestial's defenses were built for our laws, not his." The Celestial roared in a voice that was not sound but vibration. Stars flickered. It began to charge another attack, this one aimed not at Earth, but at the nuisances buzzing around it. Beerus rolled his shoulders. "Enough noise," he said. He extended his right hand toward the Celestial's chest. The orb of Hakai appeared, larger this time. It pulsed with a deep purple light. Wyas watched from a respectful distance, staff in hand, ready to smooth out any cracks in reality. The Celestial's core glowed brighter, trying to resist. It fired beams. Thor threw lightning at its face. Carol cut across its neck with a streak of energy. Hulk grabbed onto a finger and tried to pull it away. Beerus ignored all of that. His orb of destruction touched the Celestial's armor. For a heartbeat, nothing happened. Then the metal around the orb began to vanish. Not break, not melt, vanish. The erasure spread in a circle, eating into the Celestial's chest like an invisible fire. The Celestial thrashed. Space shook. Whis tapped his staff. An invisible wall snapped into place around the battle, containing the worst of the shock waves. Planets in the nearby system did not explode. Moons did not crack. He hummed a little tune while he worked. The erasure reached the Celestial's core. Light spilled out, wild and colorless. For a moment, the heroes saw something behind that light. A glimpse of raw creation. Then that too fell into the purple glow and was gone. The giant's eyes went dark. Its hand, half erased, fell away and dissolved into nothing before it could crush anyone. The rest of its body drifted, dead weight, pieces breaking apart. Beerus turned and pushed the corpse gently with one foot. The remains of the Celestial tilted and began to drift away, pulled by distant gravity wells. What pieces stayed intact were already empty shells. Carol hovered in silence, chest heaving. "Did he just kill a space god?" she said. Thor stared. "He unmade a judge older than my father," he said quietly. "With less effort than I need to lift a mug." Tony's HUD still tried to find numbers. "Friday?" he asked. "I have no helpful comment, boss," Friday said. "My data is crying." Strange let out a slow breath. "Well," he said, "now we know." Beerus looked down at Earth again. "That thing was rude," he said. "It tried to take my job." He snorted. "It was not very good at it." He drifted back toward the heroes. Thor flew to meet him. "You saved the world," Thor said. "For that you have my thanks, Beerus of wherever you are from." Beerus shrugged. "I saved my peace," he said. "If your world blew up, I would have to listen to the noise." Hulk floated nearby, still panting. "You strong," Hulk said. "Stronger than Hulk." Beerus glanced at him. "Yes." There was no pride in his voice, just fact. Wanda watched him closely. Her fingers twitched with lingering energy. "You erased that giant like it was a drawing," she said. "You can do that to anything." "Almost anything," Beerus said. "Some rules are hard even for me to break." He glanced at Whis. "That is why we have angels." Whis smiled. "I do my best, Lord Beerus." As they spoke, far across space, in a dark throne room, a gauntleted hand tightened around the arm of a chair. Thanos watched the distant echo of what had happened through the stones he already held. He saw the Celestial fall. He saw the purple god's aura. "Interesting," Thanos said. He lifted his other hand. The few stones in his gauntlet pulsed. Images flashed before his eyes. He saw possible futures. In many of them, a purple god stood in his way. In some, that same god walked beside him. "A new piece on the board," Thanos said. "One who does not fear to erase." He smiled, slow and controlled. "We will see what you choose, God of Destruction," he said. "Balance has many faces." Back at Earth, the Avengers hovered in a loose ring around Beerus and Wise. The remains of the Celestial drifted in the distance, already breaking apart. "You understand," Strange said carefully, "that what you just did will be noticed by more than just us." Beerus yawned. "Good," he said. "I was starting to think this universe did not have enough gods." Tony looked at the dead giant, then at Beerus. "Call me crazy," he said. But our new friend here is now on every watch list in existence. Friend, Natasha echoed. Potential friend, Tony corrected. Or the worst thing that has ever happened to us. We'll see. Down on Earth, cameras pointed up. News anchors shouted half-true reports. Kids looked at the sky and drew new heroes and monsters. In hidden halls, world leaders argued about how to respond to a being who could erase a space giant with a wave. And in one small glass room in the Avengers compound, Steve Rogers stood alone for a moment, looking out the window at the sky. He watched a tiny purple shape drift back toward the ground. "We've faced gods before," Steve said quietly. "We can do it again." But he also knew this was different. They had not just met a god. They had met someone whose boredom could decide the fate of their world. And now, everyone knew it. The news broke before sunrise. Every channel, every feed, every phone alert used different words, but the meaning was the same. A giant metal god had come to Earth. A purple cat man had erased it. And nobody knew if he was on their side. In a secure base, Nick Fury stood in front of a wall of screens. Some showed shaky phone videos of a glowing figure in the sky. Some showed blurry shots of the Celestial drifting apart in space. One screen showed a kid's drawing already trending online. Crayon scribbles, blue earth, yellow sun, a big purple cat with a cape, smiling. Under it, in big letters, Space Cat Hero. Fury rubbed a hand down his face. "People are fast," he said. Maria Hill crossed her arms. "They're scared," she said. "They joke when they're scared." On another screen, a news anchor spoke over the image of Beerus floating above the clouds. Sources say the mysterious being may have saved Earth from total destruction, but experts warn that its power is beyond anything we have recorded. Governments around the world are asking, is this savior or executioner? Fury turned away from the screens. "Put together a file," he said. "Every sighting, every energy reading, every meme the kids make. If this space cat sneezes, I want to know about it. And if he decides to do more than sneeze," Hill asked. Fury's good eye hardened. "Then we hope the people already standing next to him can talk him down," he said, "or stand in his way." He did not add the last part out loud, "if they even can." In the Avengers compound, the mood was heavy. They had barely had time to bandage bruises and replace broken glass from the Celestials' approach when they were back in the same glass conference room. Tony stood at the head of the table, armor folded away. His eyes were tired, but his mind was clearly racing. Graphs danced on a screen behind him, showing spikes and waves that looked more like earthquakes than energy readings. "Okay," he said. "We need to talk about the giant purple elephant in the room." "Hulk is green," Hulk said, from his oversized chair. Tony gave him a look. "The other giant, big guy." Beerus was not in the room. He was outside somewhere, walking the grounds again. Wise had claimed he wanted to inspect local patterns. The team sat around the table. Steve, Thor, Bruce, Natasha, Rhodey, Carol, Wanda, Strange. Peter hovered awkwardly near the wall, mask off, hands clasped. "Let's say it out loud," Bruce said. "He killed a Celestial. That's not something we can really wrap our heads around. Even I can't. And I am the guy who has argued with a giant green rage monster in his own brain." "Destroyed," Strange corrected gently. "Unmade. There's a difference. That thing didn't die in any way our world understands. It just stopped existing." Wanda shivered. "I felt it," she said. "It was like a door slammed shut, and the hallway behind it never existed." Steve leaned forward. "Question is, what do we do now?" he asked. We can't ignore this. We can't run from it. He's here. He's already acted. He saved us, at least this time. So what's next? Thor tapped his fingers on Mjolnir's handle. We treat him as a fellow god, he said. We show honor. We do not show fear, even if fear is there. To insult a being like that is to invite disaster. We already kind of called him a cat, Peter muttered. Natasha smirked. We? She asked. Peter sank lower in his seat. He heard me anyway, he added. I think he can hear everything. Tony pointed at him. Running gag aside, let's not poke the cosmic cat more than necessary. Rhodey frowned. So we just let him wander Earth? He asked. Let him decide if he likes us enough to not wipe us out? That doesn't sit right with me. It doesn't sit right with any of us, Steve said. But what's the alternative? Attack him. Try to lock him up. Strange shook his head. I told you before, he said. I might be able to bind him for a moment. A second, maybe. But tying a knot in something that big usually means it snaps back harder. If we fail, he will see it as a threat. Then all bets are off. Tony sighed. So we're stuck between hope the god likes us and maybe anger him by preparing for the worst. Bruce pushed his glasses up. We have to prepare, he said. We always prepare. We prepared for Thanos. We prepared for Ultron. We didn't always win right away, but we had plans. Not having a plan is worse. Tony nodded slowly. I already started. The screen behind him shifted to show designs, armor shapes, strange symbols, numbers. This is a rough draft, he said. I call it the Beerus Protocol, energy dampeners, planetary shields, emergency evac routes, even a very stupid idea for a gamma-fueled dimensional slingshot. Hulk perked up. Gamma, he said. Hulk likes gamma. This is not about fighting him head-on, Tony added quickly. I don't think we can beat him in a straight fight. Not now, maybe not ever. This is about options, ways to buy time, ways to get people off-world if he decides to go full god of whatever. Destruction, Wanda said. He's very clear about that. Steve looked around at them. We do two things, he said. We prepare, like Bruce said, quietly, carefully. No lies, no tricks that will feel like we're hiding something. And we build trust. We show him what this world really is, not just its worst days. Carol nodded. He likes strong fighters, she said. He respects that. We keep training, we keep pushing. If he sees we're growing, not rotting, maybe he'll lean our way. Treat him like a person, Natasha said. Not just a bomb. People respond to that. Even gods, especially ones who aren't used to it. Peter raised a hand awkwardly. Can I say something? Steve nodded. Go ahead, Peter. Peter swallowed. I've met a lot of scary people, he said. Aliens, big purple guys, super robots. Most of them talk like they're above everyone, like we're ants. He kind of does that too. But when he looks at us, it's like he's actually looking. He fidgeted with his fingers. If we act like we have no say, he'll treat us like that. If we act like we care and keep fighting and keep being us, maybe he'll see that we matter. Tony glanced at him, then at the others. Kid has a point, he said. We didn't beat the last big guy just by punching him harder. We beat him by being stubborn idiots who wouldn't stop trying, even when we lost, twice. Strange cleared his throat. I should speak with Whis again, he said. There are rules they follow, a structure. If we understand it, we might find leverage that doesn't involve throwing punches at someone who can erase punches. Steve nodded. Do it, he said, but carefully. They all rose from the table, some with set faces, some with worry still in their eyes. Nobody in that room felt safe, but they had a direction. On the roof, Beerus lay flat on his back, hands under his head staring at the clouds. He could feel the planet humming beneath him. Life, energy, emotions. It was not as dense as his own universe, but it was noisy. In a way he did not hate. Whis sat cross-legged nearby, floating a few inches above the roof. His staff hovered beside him, spinning slowly. "What do you think of them?" Whis asked softly. "You ask that too much," Beerus said. "You know, I haven't decided." "Have you considered," Whis said, "that this may not be a simple decide and destroy situation?" Beerus turned his head. "I am the god of destruction," he said. "It is always simple." Whis smiled a little. "Is it?" he asked. Beerus scowled at the sky. The clouds above twisted into shapes. One almost looked like a big purple cat with a hammer. He snorted. "They are weak compared to the top of our world," he said. "Their strongest fighters still think in small circles. Even their so-called gods are just tall mortals with good toys." "And yet?" Whis asked. Beerus did not answer right away. He thought of Thor flying into the Celestial's beam without hesitation, of Carol gritting her teeth as she tried to push the blast back, of Cap standing in front of him and not flinching when he shook his hand, of the kid joking about space cats even while his voice shook. "They do not give up," Beerus admitted, "even when they should, even when they are outmatched. It's almost annoying." "Almost," Whis said. Beerus sighed. "You're enjoying this, aren't you?" "I enjoy seeing you interested, Lord Beerus," Whis said. "It is good for you." Beerus grunted. "I saw others," he said. "The Celestial. That was this universe's judge. It did not care why things were broken. It only wanted to fix them by force. Like stepping on a bug nest. It was lazy." "And you are not lazy?" Whis teased. "I am efficient," Beerus said. "There is a difference." He closed his eyes again. "I will watch a little longer," he said. "See what kinds of trouble they make. If they are interesting enough, I might let them live." Whis nodded. "Very generous." Beerus smirked. "Tell that to them. They seem very worried." In Latveria, under a grey sky, Dr. Doom knelt beside a crater. The land here was dead and cold. No grass grew where the Celestial's energy had once brushed the ground. Machines hummed around him, scanning the soil, the air, the faint traces of something that did not belong. "Hakai," Doom said softly. The word did not belong to his tongue, but he had heard it in the data he had stolen, in whispers from sorcerers who had glimpsed other worlds. He did not know the full meaning, but he could taste its power in the empty space where matter should be. He held a device in his hand. It looked like a metal claw with crystal tips. As he lowered it to the ground, the crystals glowed faintly purple. "Do you believe this is wise, my lord?" one of his robots asked, voice flat. Doom did not look up. "We live in a world where a titan snapped half of existence away," he said, "where men in armor and capes fight creatures of shadow and light. Wisdom is a matter of speed. I must understand this new force before anyone else does." The crystals pulsed again. Numbers scrolled across Doom's wrist display. "A residue of the god's destruction," Doom murmured. "Still here, still active, but fading. He cleans up after himself, it seems." He straightened and turned back toward his castle, cloak flowing. "Begin Project Annihilus," he said. "We will replicate the pattern, harness it. Or if that is impossible, we will design a mirror. If the god of destruction ever turns his gaze toward Latveria, I will have a response." "And the rest of the world?" the robot asked. Doom's mask tilted slightly. "They can pray to their space cat," he said. I do not pray." He walked away, already plotting. Beerus found Doom later, not because Doom wanted him there, because Beerus was bored. He drifted over Latveria like a cloud, always beside him. The land here felt different, heavy, watched. "Whoever rules this place is very sure of himself," we said, looking down at the tight lines of patrol routes and the harsh angles of the city. Beerus nodded toward the castle. "There," he said, "that key is like a knife, sharp, small, pointed inward." They came to rest on a balcony without knocking. Guards rushed forward, weapons raised. Wise flicked his staff, and their guns turned into harmless bunches of flowers. The guards stared at the flowers in their hands. Dr. Doom stepped out of a nearby doorway, cloak swirling. He did not look surprised. He looked like he had been expecting this. "Lord Beerus," he said, voice smooth through the mask. "And Whis, is it? Welcome to Latveria." Beerus looked him up and down. "You are the one with the metal face," he said. "The schemer." Doom inclined his head. "I am Victor von Doom," he said, "ruler of this nation, master of both science and sorcery. I have watched your arrival with great interest." Beerus floated a little closer, until they were almost eye to eye. "You are not afraid," he said. "I am not foolish enough to be calm," Doom said. "But fear is for those who wait for others to act. I prefer to act." He gestured toward the countryside. "You have seen our world now," he said. "You have seen its chaos, its failures, its constant noise, as you call it. You and I are not so different. We both understand that chaos must be tamed, that weak leaders create suffering." Beerus's tail flicked lazily. "You think we are alike?" he asked. Doom held his gaze. "We both believe in balance," he said. "You erase what you judge to be rotten. I transform what I judge to be broken. Imagine what we could do together. You beyond gods, me beyond kings. We could cut away the cancer, leave only strength, order, a universe worthy of your interest." Weiss watched quietly, expression unreadable. Beerus let the silence stretch. Doom did not look away. Finally, Beerus chuckled. "You talk a lot," he said, "like a villain in a play." "I am not a villain," Doom said. "I am a necessity." "You want me as your weapon," Beerus said. "You would point me at your enemies, and then at whoever stands in your way next. You would tell yourself it is for balance, but really, it is because you dislike being less than anyone." His eyes narrowed. "Your key is full of pride, not duty." Doom's fingers tightened on his gauntlets. "I seek no master," he said. "Only equals." "I do not seek equals," Beerus said calmly. "I have one, maybe two. They are not here." Doom stood very still. "Be careful, mortal," Beerus added. "Destruction is not a toy. It is not a tool for your ego. If you play with my power without knowing what it is, you may erase yourself before you ever touch me." He turned away. "We are done," he said. "You are entertaining, but I do not like being offered a throne made of skulls and lies. I prefer my own rock." Whis followed as Beerus floated back into the air. Doom watched them go, mask hiding the flush of anger under his skin. As soon as they were gone, he turned back to his lab. "Double the speed of Project Annihilus," he said, "and begin Project Mirror. If I cannot use the god, I will at least reflect him." He looked up at the empty sky. "You will not warn Doom twice," he said softly. In a dark chamber lit only by the glow of 6 stones, Thanos watched. The space stone showed him Beerus leaving Latveria. The reality stone painted 1,000 versions of that path. The Mind Stone whispered fears and dreams from the heroes below. "Interesting," Thanos murmured. He saw Doom's pride, Tony's plans, Steve's stubborn hope, Strange's quiet fear, Wanda's unease, Carol's drive. He saw Beerus, floating above it all, bored and annoyed and curious. With that one, Thanos said, the scales tip too far. His presence alone distorts my work. He closed his fingers around the gauntlet, feeling the stones push back. I must adjust, he said. Force wins wars, but so do choices. If I cannot avoid the god, I must plan for him, maybe even speak to him. The stones pulsed softly. There were futures where the universe burned in purple light. There were futures where Thanos stood side by side with Beerus, wiping away half of creation again and again. There were futures where neither existed by their own choice. Thanos smiled. Balance, he said. It seems even gods must face it. In the sanctum, Strange sat cross-legged in front of the window. The city lights glowed below. The magic of the building wrapped around him like a quiet heartbeat. He held a small green relic in his hands. Not the time stone itself, it was gone, but a vessel that still held a trace of its touch on reality, enough to help him look if he was careful. Wong stood nearby, arms folded. "You're sure about this?" he asked. "No," Strange said, "but I need to know how bad it can get." He let his mind slip. The world around him blurred into lines of light. Time became a loop. He saw himself move forward, backward, sideways. He searched. He saw futures where Beerus grew bored after a few weeks, snapped his fingers, and Earth vanished in a neat purple flash. He saw futures where Thanos got the stones again and tried his plan once more, this time with Beerus watching. He saw futures where Doom's mirror projects backfired and erased Latveria from the map. He saw futures where Beerus left, and the hole he left behind invited worse things. He saw a few futures where Beerus stayed. Not as a ruler, not as a friend exactly, but as a watcher who sometimes stepped in when things truly broke. He saw a handful of those futures end with a living Earth. He snapped back to himself with a gasp. Wong stepped forward. "Well?" Strange opened his eyes slowly. They were tired. "He is in almost all of them," Strange said. "As a threat, as an ally, as a storm that passes over us. If we push him away, we invite other storms. If we try to bind him, we break ourselves. We need him in a position where he chooses to care." Wong gave a low sigh. "We have to make a god care," he said. "I hope you have a spell for that." Strange shook his head. "No spell," he said. "Just us. And a lot of work." He looked out at the city. Somewhere out there, a purple silhouette lay on a roof, watching the stars. "We're not just protecting the world from him," Strange said, quietly. "We might be protecting him from this world, from becoming something worse in it." Wong nodded once. "Then we should get to it." Strange stood. The path ahead was not clear. But he knew one thing. The next move would not be simple force. It would be something more personal. Beerus grew bored. It did not happen at once. For a while, the planet kept him busy. He watched Thor and Hulk smash training bots. He watched Carol leave and come back from deep space. He watched Spider-Man swing through the city, catching petty thieves and saving cats from trees. The last one always made him twitch. He listened as Strange and Tony tried to explain movies to Wheeze. "This one is about a man in armor learning he shouldn't sell weapons anymore," Tony said. "And this one is about a wizard learning not to be a jerk," Strange said. Whis clapped his hands. "So many lessons," he said. "Your culture is very honest about your flaws." Beerus sat through part of a movie, then another. The jokes were loud, the fights were small, the popcorn was decent. He yawned. One afternoon, he sat on the cliff edge again, tail flicking. The wind tugged at his ears. "Whis," he said. "Yes, Lord Beerus." "These heroes are strong," Beerus said, "for mortals. But if I see one more training session with the big green one punching a robot, I might erase the robot, the room, and the mood." Whis smiled. "You are restless. I want a real fight," Beerus said. "Someone who can at least make me try. Not a giant metal fool who swings at planets without thinking. Someone who cares about the fight." He stood. This universe must have someone like that. A champion. A top god. You said names. Galactus. Dormammu. Others. Whis nodded. "Yes, there are several cosmic beings here who are quite impressive." "Then we go find them," Beerus said. "I will not sit here and wait for them to come. I am not a mountain." "Of course," Whis said. He tapped his staff lightly. "Shall we leave a note?" Beerus snorted. "If they are clever, they will notice I am gone. If they are not, it hardly matters." Whis raised the staff. The air in front of them shimmered into a window of stars. Beerus stepped through without looking back. Whis followed, humming softly. A second later, Friday's voice echoed through the compound. "Alert," she said. "Primary energy source Beerus has left the building. And the planet. He left the planet." Tony ran into the open, armor assembling around him as he moved. He shot straight up past the roof and into the sky, scanning. "Friday," he said. "Track our purple problem." "Already trying, boss," she said. "He is moving faster than most of our systems can follow. Heading outward, past the moon, past Mars. He's gone." "Gone where?" Tony asked. "Unknown," Friday said. "Off-world, off-map, off everything." Tony stopped his climb and hovered, staring into space. On the ground, the others rushed outside. "Where is he?" Bruce shouted. "He left," Tony said. "Just walked off the world. Didn't say goodbye. I thought we were friends." "Were you?" Natasha asked dryly. Carol floated up beside Tony, crossing her arms. "He wanted a better view," she said. "Maybe this place got too small for him." Strange opened a small portal and peered at the fabric of space. "No tears," he said. "This time he left clean. He didn't break our walls on the way out." "That's good, right?" Peter asked. Bruce looked pale. "Or it means he's going to do something big somewhere else," he said. "And if that goes wrong, it could spill back here." Steve stared up at the empty sky. "We should be ready when he comes back," he said. "You're assuming he will," Rhodey said. Steve's jaw tightened. "He didn't feel done," he said. "Not with us. Not with this world. He'll be back. Question is, will he be bored or excited when he returns?" Beyond the solar system, Beerus and Whis skimmed past planets, stars, and debris. Beerus did not bother to breathe. He did not need to. They passed the ruins of Xandar. Beerus looked down at the shattered remains of the once busy world. "Who did that?" he asked. Whis's staff glowed faintly. "A warlord named Thanos," he said. "With the help of his armies and the stones, he has wiped out many half-worlds in his quest for balance." Beerus's ear twitched. "He steals my word," he said, "and does a poor job of it." They passed the remains of Asgard, floating after its destruction, depending on timeline. Beerus tilted his head. "So this is where their thunder god came from," he said. "His roots are cut." Whis nodded. "This universe is full of loss," he said, "and yet they rebuild." They crossed a region of space where the air, if there had been air, would have tasted like smoke and magic. A dimension where Dormammu's influence still lingered at the edges. Dormammu sensed them and recoiled, not wanting a fight. Not this one, Beerus said, almost disappointed. Too similar to that metal judge. All hunger, no fun. Whis smiled. Then ahead, they saw a silver streak. A lone figure glided on a board over the curve of a colourful planet. Stars reflected on his metal skin. He moved with grace and sadness. Ah, Whis said. Now this one is promising. The silver being felt them too. He turned. Norrin Rad, the Silver Surfer, stared at the purple figure and his calm attendant. You are not of this cosmos, Surfer said. His voice carried through space as if it had air anyway. Beerus grinned. Finally someone who notices, he said. You are shiny. I am Silver Surfer, he said. Herald no longer, but still bound to the power cosmic. You are Beerus. He said the name like it tasted strange. You know me? Beerus asked. Rumors travel, Surfer said. Across realities, across the minds of those who see patterns. A god of destruction from another song, now here in ours. Beerus's pupils narrowed with interest. Then you know what I want, he said. A fight. Surfer's eyes glowed. If you threaten this world, I will stop you, he said. If I can. Whiss's staff chimed. We are not here to destroy your planet, he said. At least not at the moment. Lord Beerus is simply bored. Surfer looked down at the world below. People there went about their lives, unaware. I will not let you harm them, he said. Beerus rolled his shoulders. Then show me, he said. Show me the power cosmic. He moved. To Surfer, it was like a blink. Beerus was several lengths away. Then he was right in front of him, swinging a lazy kick. Surfer pulled his board up, twisting around the strike. A shockwave rippled out, making a nearby asteroid belt rattle. Surfer flung himself backward, then sliced forward with a beam of bright energy. It cut a clean line through empty space and would have cut through a mountain like butter. Beerus held up 2 fingers and caught the beam. He watched it for a second, feeling its weight, then flicked it upward into nothing. Good, he said. Better than the others. Surfer's eyes narrowed. He reached deeper into the power cosmic, calling on the force that had once fed Galactus. Nebulae shuddered. Light bent. Surfer compressed that into a spear of light and thrust it toward Beerus. This time, Beerus had to take a step, bracing. The spear hit his palm, sending a tingle up his arm. He smiled. Yes, he said. More. From a distance, Whis watched like someone enjoying a favorite show. Surfer dove and swung his board like a blade, trying to catch Beerus from below. Beerus vanished and reappeared behind him, tail whipping out. The strike sent Surfer spinning, but he caught himself, circling back with a wave of reality-bending force that warped nearby starlight. The fight went on in bursts. Surfer changed matter, thickening space. Beerus punched through the thicker air as if it were nothing. Surfer tried to trap him in gravity wells. Beerus stepped out of them, annoyed but amused. You fight with the weight of worlds, Beerus said, but you hold back. I have seen too much damage, Surfer said, voice tight. I will not become what I once was again. Beerus nodded once. He understood that, even if he would never admit it out loud. He upped the pressure just a little. A flurry of blows that made Surfer grit his teeth and focus on defense. A rush of godly ki that made the planet below shiver. Surfer knew he was outmatched. He was not stupid, but he did not flee. He stood his ground, pushing back with everything he had. Beerus finally stepped back, ears pricking. That is enough, he said. You would die if I went further, and I would have to find another toy. Surfer's chest rose and fell, even though he did not need air. His body hummed with pain and power. Is that all you wanted? he asked. A game? I wanted to see if this universe has anyone worth my time, Beerus said. You are one of them. Surfer did not bow. If that is praise, I will accept it, he said. But if you threaten these people again, I will stand in your way again. Beerus smirked. Good, he said. Keep standing. Whis floated closer. Lord Beerus, he said softly, do you feel that? Beerus did. A tug, a ripple. Not like their own travel, not like his arrival. Something else was twisting space, close by. Something with a pattern he now recognized. The Infinity Stones. Thanos had waited for the right moment. He watched Beerus and the Silver Surfer clash. He watched the strain in Surfer's movements. He watched the small cracks in reality when Beerus pushed too hard. Then he clenched his hand. The gauntlet flared. Space in front of Beerus and Surfer tore open, not like Wiss's neat doorways, but like ripped cloth. Colors spilled out. Time folded in on itself, showing flashes of different skies, different cities. Another Thor swung a hammer in a slightly different arc. Another Captain America fell under Ultron's blast. Another New York burned under aliens that never came in this reality. Beerus tilted his head. What is this mess? He asked. Wiss's eyes widened with true interest. Ah, he said. A controlled multiverse tear. That is, ambitious. Figures began to step through. An Iron Man with a different armor pattern. A Captain Marvel with a harsher set to her jaw. A Doctor Strange whose eyes were too dark. All of them, pulled from other branches of reality. All of them shocked, angry, or ready to fight. On their heels came twisted things, monsters made of stone energy, bodies that flickered between forms. From Earth's side, Strange felt the tear open. He staggered in the sanctum, hand on a bookshelf, as magic screeched. Wong, he shouted. We've got a problem in the outer lanes. Big one. He opened a portal and stepped through, linking the sanctum to the battlefield near Beerus. Tony followed, armor already in space mode. Thor, Carol, Wanda, Hulk, those who could survive out there, came with him. They burst out into chaos. Okay, Tony said. Either I drank something weird, or we've got knockoff versions from another universe. Alt-Iron Man glared at him. Who are you calling knockoff? He snapped. See, Tony said. Same attitude. Doctor Strange took in the rip in space. Thanos, he said. Has to be. He's using the stones to break the walls. Wanda clutched her head. It's too much, she said. Too many realities. They're all loud. Beerus floated in the center of it, calm in the storm, eyes slightly narrowed. He saw the monsters swarm. He saw the alternate heroes lashing out in confusion. He saw his own fight with Surfer thrown off course. This is why I hate toys, he muttered. A stone monster lunged at him, mouth a crackling void. He flicked it with a finger. It shattered into harmless fragments of light. An alternate Hulk roared at him, then stopped mid-roar, sensing something deep in his instincts that told him to back down. Whis moved, staff glowing. He traced lines in space, trying to keep the tear from widening. Each time he fixed one edge, another bulged. Lord Beerus, he called. If this continues, this universe and several others may blend in ways even I cannot predict. Beerus frowned. He was not worried about himself. He did not think this tear could hurt him. But he had come here to see a world, not a mess of half-worlds. This is sloppy, he said. Whoever is doing this is a worse judge than that metal fool. He flew toward the center of the tear. As he moved, heroes and monsters crashed around him. Thor slammed into an alternate Thor, both shouting war cries. Carol Danvers found herself facing another Carol, each trying to figure out if the other was friend, foe, or reflection. Wanda fought stone beasts that tried to twist her own magic, her red energy clashing with their glittering light. Strange fought his darker counterpart, their spells colliding in loops and traps. Amid it all, Beerus was a quiet spear headed for the heart of the storm. At the core of the tear, deep in the strange tunnel of colour and time, he felt a familiar pull. The gauntlet. He pushed faster, reality blurring around him. For a moment, he saw glimpses of other lives. A universe where he never woke up from his long sleep. A universe where Goku never met him. A universe where this Marvel reality had already been erased. He shrugged them off. At the far end of the tunnel, Thanos waited. He stood on a small rocky platform holding the gauntlet before him. The stones glowed in harmony, pouring power into the tear. His eyes widened as Beerus appeared out of the chaos. "So," Thanos said, "you found the thread." Beerus hovered before him, crossing his arms. "You are the one who plays with stones," he said. "The one who snapped half a universe away." "I did what was necessary," Thanos said. "You did what was messy," Beerus said. "You break things badly. I break them clean." Thanos smiled faintly. "We both seek balance," he said. "We both erase. But you erase to sleep. I erase to save. Our methods differ. Our goal does not." The gauntlet pulsed. The tunnel shuddered. Back in normal space, Strange and Wiz felt the strain. "If someone does not end this soon," Wiz said, "we may have several universes braided together beyond repair." Strange gritted his teeth. "That someone is talking to Thanos," he said. "The question is, what will he decide?" In the tunnel, Thanos raised his stone-heavy hand. "Join me," he said. "Stay here. With these stones and your power, we could create true balance. No more random chaos. No more selfish choice. We could decide once and for all." Beerus considered him for a heartbeat. "You sound like that metal-faced mortal," he said. "Only bigger." He lifted his hand. Thanos felt something strange. The gauntlet, which had always obeyed him, after struggle, yes, but obeyed, suddenly felt slippery, like a heavy glove that did not quite fit. Beerus was not using Hakai yet. He did not want to blow up the gauntlet. Not yet. He was pushing his own godly key into the spaces between the stone's powers, testing their edges. "This universe's rules are fragile," Beerus said. "Your toys are strong in your story. But I am from a different story." He squeezed. The space stone flickered. The tunnel trembled. Thanos growled and pushed back. "You cannot break what I have forged," he said. "I have walked through hell to get these." "You misunderstand," Beerus said. "I am not trying to break them. Yet. I am trying to find the knot." He twisted. Back in open space, the tear shrank slightly. Alt heroes were flung back into their own realities, some carried by strangers' portals, others pulled by the stone's own desire for order. Monsters screamed and popped like bubbles. Whis smiled slightly. "There," he said. "He has found the rhythm." In the tunnel, Thanos felt the gauntlet's harmony shift. The stones began to hum at a different pitch, no longer perfectly in sync with his will. They responded to Beerus's God key, confused by this new command. Thanos realized something. If he stayed locked in a contest of raw force with this being, he would lose, not because he was weak, but because the stones had limits that Beerus did not share. He made a choice. He pulled his power back, redirecting the tear. The tunnel walls folded in, breaking the path between him and Beerus. "You are not ready to join me," Thanos said, "and I am not ready to face you fully, not yet." The reality around him bent, He stepped sideways, using the stones to slip into a region of space where their rules were strongest and Beerus's influence weakest. For now. The tunnel collapsed. Beerus found himself spat back into open space, surrounded by drifting debris and fading echoes. The tear shrank to a crack, then sealed. Only a faint scar in the fabric of reality remained. The alternate heroes were gone. The stone monsters were dust. Only the main group remained, bruised and confused. Carol floated nearby, panting. What just happened? She asked. Strange looked at the closing scar. Thanos poked a hole through reality, he said. And Beerus poked his fingers into the stones themselves. Thor spun in place, checking his surroundings. The other me? He asked. Back where he belongs, Whis said. I made sure no copies remained where they should not. Beerus floated back toward them, expression slightly more serious than usual. He is clever, Beerus said. Your Titan. He knows when to run. Wait, Tony said. You saw him? You fought him? What did he say? He tried to hire me, Beerus said. Offered me half the universe, again and again. Hulk frowned. Half boring, he said. Half broken. Exactly, Beerus said. Wanda rubbed her temples. I felt the other worlds, she said. So many. All different. All loud. Strange placed a hand on her shoulder. It's over, he said. For now. As the dust settled, a new presence made itself known. Not with light. Not with sound. With a feeling. Like someone standing in the doorway of a room too small for them. Everyone there, hero, god, angel, felt a weight pass over them. Watu appeared, larger than life but still somehow distant, watching from a nearby moon. And beside him, or perhaps through him, another form flickered into their minds, 3 faces on one body, empty eyes, scales in its hands. The living tribunal did not fully manifest. It never had to. Its voice, if it could be called a voice, resonated in their thoughts. Balance, it said. 2 judges, 1 reality, unstable. Strange fell to one knee, gasping. Wanda clutched her head. Even Thor shivered. Beerus narrowed his eyes. He recognized the type, if not the exact being. Another judge, he muttered. You are all obsessed with balance here. The tribunal's presence focused on him. Outsider, it said. You are beyond this court, but your actions press on its walls. The Titan with his stones. You with your Hakai. Together you may break more than you fix. Beerus shrugged. Then he should stop using his toys, he said. I am just visiting. The tribunal did not laugh. It did not move. Choose your role, it said. Destroyer, guardian, or passerby. This universe cannot hold 2 forces of judgment without tearing. Decide. Then it was gone. Only Watu remained, silent on his moon. He watched Beerus, the Avengers, and the fading scar of the tear. He said nothing. But in his heart, he knew the tribunal was right. In the days to come, this god from another song would not be a footnote. He would be a headline. Back on Earth, the story spread. It took time for the details to reach ground level. Most people just saw the sky ripple for a second. Some saw duplicates of heroes in the streets and figured it was another weird day. But those at the center knew. Strange stood with Tony, Steve, and Carol in the war room, a projection of the tear and the tribunal's warning in front of them. So, Tony said, we just got yelled at by the Multiverse's Supreme Court. Not we, Strange said. Him and Thanos. Steve crossed his arms. If Thanos is playing with the walls now, he's not just a threat to life, he said. He's a threat to reality itself. And Beerus, Carol asked, what did that thing mean? Strange looked at the projection of Beerus. It meant he has to choose what he is to us, Strange said. If he stays, he can't just float above everything and erase what annoys him. Not without tearing things apart in ways even he might not like. They watched Beerus outside the glass, standing alone on the cliff, staring at the sky where the tear had been. He looked smaller from here, but they knew size meant nothing with him. Whether we like it or not, Steve said quietly, he's part of our future now. And the side quest, Tony added. We're officially living in his side quest. He tried to make it a joke. This time, nobody laughed. Outside, the wind tugged at Beerus's ears. The universe had given him a warning. He did not decide yet. But he knew one thing. This world was no longer just a noisy ball of mortals. It was a stage where gods, titans, and things beyond courts were all stepping at once, and he was right in the middle of it. Weeks passed. The world did not end. People still went to work. Kids still went to school. Traffic still got stuck on bridges. Somewhere, someone burned their breakfast. But there were new things too. Sometimes, if you looked up at just the right moment, you could see a small purple shape floating high above the clouds. It lay on its back, hands behind its head, tail drifting. It did not fall. News drones tried to zoom in. Their cameras always fuzzed out when they got too close, like something in the air did not want clear shots. The kids drew more pictures. Some showed the purple space cat punching a giant robot. Some showed him high-fiving Spider-Man. One showed him sleeping on the moon. Nobody really knew what he was doing up there. He was watching and waiting. Beerus's new routine was strange but steady. He spent part of each day above New York, lying on an invisible bed of his own energy. He watched the city move under him like a living map. He watched Spider-Man swing between buildings, shouting jokes as he went. He watched Stark Tower glow at night as Tony worked late. He watched the Sanctum's windows shimmer when Strange tried a new spell. Sometimes he dipped lower. Once, he appeared over a small park where kids were playing. They froze. One brave kid stepped forward with a piece of paper. On it was a crayon drawing of Beerus in a cape, standing with the Avengers. "I made this," the kid said, voice shaking. "You're kind of scary, but you saved us, so thanks." Beerus took the paper between two fingers. He looked at it for a long second. The drawing was messy. His ears were too big. His tail was wrong. But the kid had drawn him standing, not destroying. He sniffed. He said. "The ears are fine." Then he vanished. The kid screamed with joy anyway. In the Avengers compound, the running gag grew legs. Tony added a new line to the monthly budget. Cosmic cat expenses. It covered the cost of any snacks mysteriously missing from the kitchens, and the repairs from shockwaves when Beerus got annoyed and flicked a finger. In one meeting, Tony pointed at the line on a hollow screen. "Do you see this?" he said. "We are spending more on space cat treats than on my coffee." Bruce squinted. "That can't be true," he said. "Nothing costs more than your coffee." Friday chimed in. "The data is correct," she said. "Beerus has eaten 27% of our high-energy food stock this month." Steve tried not to smile. "So don't buy him anymore," he said. As they spoke, the camera showed Beerus on the roof, lying in the sun with a half-eaten cake beside him. Tony sighed. "Steve, you go tell him no," he said. Steve thought about it. "We'll find savings somewhere else," he said. At night, Beerus watched training sessions. He watched Thor and Hulk slam into each other, shockwaves rattling the glass. He watched Wanda practice fine control, lifting dozens of tiny objects and threading them through hoops with red light. He watched Peter run drills, webbing robots, and diving out of the way of fake blasts. Sometimes he gave comments. "The green one holds back when he thinks he might hurt someone," he told Whis one evening. "That makes him weaker, but also less boring." Whis nodded. "He is learning balance," he said. "The witch is dangerous," Beerus said another night, as Wanda's power flared. "Her energy is wild, but she still cares what happens. That keeps her from crossing a line." "Care can be both a strength and a weakness," Whis said. "As you know, Lord Beerus." Beerus grunted. He did not argue. One afternoon, Steve asked for a meeting. Not in the war room. Not around a big table with screens and graphs. He asked Beerus to meet him in a quiet part of the compound grounds, near a simple bench under a tree. Beerus arrived without a sound. He stood beside the bench, looking at Steve. "You wish to speak?" he asked. Steve nodded. "Yeah," he said. "I did." He wore his suit, but not his helmet. His shield rested beside him, leaning against the bench. "Sit," Steve said. Beerus raised an eyebrow. Gods of destruction did not often sit when asked by mortals. But he sat. They watched the wind move the leaves for a few seconds. "I wanted to say thank you," Steve said. "For the celestial, for the multiverse mess. You could have walked away. You didn't." Beerus shrugged. "They were annoying," he said. "I do not like other judges stepping in where I am." Steve smiled a little. "You know, that's not the worst reason I've heard from someone powerful," he said. "Most just say they wanted to kill us." He turned serious again. "I'm not here to flatter you," Steve said, "and I'm not here to beg either. I'm here to be honest." Beerus glanced at him. "Go on." "You scare us," Steve said. "All of us. Even Thor. Even Hulk. You are beyond what we can fight. We're used to climbing mountains. You're more like the sky itself falling." Beerus didn't speak. "But we also see how you look at this world," Steve said. "You watch the way people act. You judge us. That's fair. We've made a lot of mistakes." He took a breath. "What I'm asking," Steve said, "is simple. If you're going to judge us, do it with the whole story in mind. Not just our worst days. We are trying to fix things. We are trying to be better than we were when Thanos snapped his fingers." He turned so he was facing Beerus fully. "And if you see something we're doing wrong," Steve went on, "tell us. Don't just erase it. Give us a chance to change it, to stand with you, not just under you." Beerus studied him. Steve's key was not huge, not like Thor's, not like Carol's, but it glowed steady and bright, like a small star that refused to go out. "You think you can stand with me," Beerus said, "even when you are so small?" Steve smiled faintly. "We've always been small," he said. "That didn't stop us from standing up to bigger things." He shrugged. "You don't owe us anything. But if you're going to stay, I'd rather we be something like allies, not just bugs you haven't stepped on yet." Beerus looked away, watching a bird hop across the grass. "You ask me to be patient," he said, "to give you chances, to care." "Yes," Steve said quietly, "I am." Beerus stayed silent for a few moments. "You remind me of someone," he said at last. "From my universe, a mortal who kept punching gods." "Did it work?" Steve asked. "Sometimes," Beerus said. "Enough that I did not erase him." Steve chuckled. "That's something at least." Beerus stood. "I will not promise to never destroy anything," he said. "That is my nature, my job. But I will consider your world differently. You have earned at least that much." He looked down at Steve. "If I ever decide your balance is truly broken," Beerus said, I will tell you. You will see me coming. I will not erase you from behind. Steve met his eyes. That's all I can ask, he said. Beerus turned away. Wesses was waiting a short distance away, staff in hand. That was kind, Wes said, when Beerus reached him. Beerus snorted. It was logical, he said. If I erase them without warning, I miss half the show. Wes smiled to himself, but he knew something had shifted. Beerus was not just visiting anymore. He was investing. The offer from Thanos did not come right away. It came on a night when the stars over Earth looked calm. No tears in the sky. No giant hands reaching down. Beerus had drifted higher than usual into the quiet space between Earth and the moon. He lay on an invisible bed again, eyes half closed. Whis floated nearby, humming. Suddenly, the stars around them blinked out. Not all of them, only a ring. A circle of darkness opened, surrounding Beerus and Fizz. The feeling was not like Wiss's portals. It was heavier, sticky. Beerus sat up. What now? He muttered. The darkness shimmered. Then it fell away. He was no longer near Earth. He stood in a place that was not fully space and not fully anything else. A star field stretched around him, but the stars here were too close together, like someone had painted them on a black dome. Floating in front of him was Thanos. He did not sit on a throne. He stood on a small chunk of rock. The infinity gauntlet glowed on his hand, all 6 stones in place. Wise was not beside Beerus anymore. Beerus felt him, far away, pushing against something. A private talk, Thanos said. I did not want interruptions. Beerus looked at the gauntlet, then at Thanos' face. You like pulling me aside, Beerus said. First with your little tear, now this. You are a busy god, Thanos said. I thought you would appreciate directness. He lifted the gauntlet slightly. You tested my tool before, he said. You learned its edges. Now I will speak plainly. We can both unmake. We both see how messy life is, how wasteful. He gestured, and the stones flashed. Around them, images appeared. Whole planets choked by war, cities burning, children crying over rubble, worlds where heroes never rose. This universe is sick, Thanos said. It grows without care. It consumes its own future. I tried to fix that once by cutting it in half. It worked for a time. Then they undid it. He looked at Beerus. You erase what is rotten, Thanos went on. I erase what is extra. Both of us believe there must be balance. But mortals will never keep it alone. They are too weak, too selfish. The Mind Stone flared. Beerus felt a whisper at the edge of his thoughts. It was not strong enough to control him, but he recognized the touch. Do not try to push into my head, he said. You will not like what you find. Thanos nodded. I had to try, he said. Now I know. No illusions then. He stepped closer on his small rock, as if there were ground under his feet. Join me, Thanos said. With your power and the stones, we could set rules that cannot be undone by random heroes. We could slow time where it rushes, speed it where it rots. We could shape reality so your boredom is gone. Infinite possible fights, infinite possible gardens, nothing wasted. Beerus watched the images. He saw a universe where every world had enough food, where no one starved. He saw a universe where wars were impossible, because their causes had been snipped out in the past. He saw a universe where he fought endless copies of strong warriors, each one made to test him. He also saw the price. Quiet, empty streets where nothing ever changed without permission. Smiles that looked too calm. Eyes with no surprise left in them. You want to freeze the song, Beerus said. Hold the note forever. I want to tune it, Thanos said. so it does not crash into itself. We would be guardians, not tyrants. We would keep the universe standing. Beerus's tail flicked. This universe has its own judges, he said. I met one. I erased it. You saw how crude it was, Thanos said. How blunt. It destroyed without thought. We would be smarter, finer. We know what life is. We have walked among it. He lifted the gauntlet higher. With your help, he said, the stones will never be stolen or misused. No random tyrant, no angry sorcerer, no desperate hero. Only us. We can end chaos. A soft light appeared to Beerus's left. Uatu stood there, inside this fake star field, which he should not have been able to enter. His eyes were sad. I am breaking my oath again, Uatu said quietly, but I must speak. Thanos scowled. Watcher, he said, this is not for you. Everything you do is for me to see, Uatu said. That is my curse. He turned to Beerus. God of destruction, he said. In many universes, beings like you and like him have taken this path. They always believe they can carry the weight. They always believe they will be fair. He gestured, and more images appeared, not from the stones, from his own memory, worlds frozen in place. Statues of smiling children that had once been living. Galaxies turned into perfect spirals, never changing, never growing. In time, Uatu said, they forget why they made the rules. They only remember that the rules must not be broken. They kill in the name of peace. They erase in the name of order. And the universe becomes less than it could have been. He looked Beerus in the eyes. You are not of this universe, Uatu said. You could leave. You could join him. You could stand apart and let both of you tear at the edges until the tribunal intervenes. But know this, whatever you choose, there will be many lives under it, small lives, loud lives, lives that matter even if you never meet them. Beerus listened. He did not like lectures. He also did not like being told what to do by big floating heads or titans with fancy gloves. But he respected information. He closed his eyes for a moment. He thought of his own universe, of Goku, grinning up at him with fists raised, of Vegeta, scowling but proud, of planets he had destroyed because they truly were rotten. He thought of this universe, of Steve's steady gaze, of Tony's nervous jokes, of Carol's stubborn light, of Wanda's shaking hands, of Spider-Man calling him a cat and then leaving him a drawing anyway. He opened his eyes. You are both wrong, Beerus said. Thanos frowned. Explain. You think mortals cannot handle their own mess, Beerus said. You think they will always ruin balance if left alone. So you twist them. You cut pieces away. You make them smaller, even as you pretend to save them. He looked at Uatu. And you, he said, watch them suffer. You fear what happens when someone strong steps in. So you stay back, even when your knowledge could help. Uatu did not argue. Beerus floated a little higher. I am a destroyer, he said, not a gardener, not a maker. I erase what is beyond repair. I do not rewrite songs. I do not trap the universe in neat little boxes. He turned to Thanos. You use balance as an excuse, Beerus said. You are obsessed with your own idea. It is not about the universe. It is about you being the one who decided. Thanos' jaw tightened. You think I enjoy killing? He asked. You think I do this for fun? I think you enjoy being necessary, Beerus said. And you cannot stand the idea that life might find its own way without you. The Soul Stone flared, tasting Beerus's words. It did not argue either. Beerus lifted his hand. This universe is loud, he said. Messy, stupid, brave. It has judges. It has fools. It has you. He pointed at the gauntlet. That toy is not balance, he said. It is a hammer in the hands of someone who thinks every problem is a nail. Thanos raised the gauntlet. You will not take it, he said. Not without a fight. Beerus smiled, small and sharp. I expected nothing less, he said. The fight was fast. Thanos swung his hand, and time slowed. Beerus saw the world around him freeze. Stars hung in the air. Uatu's face blurred. Even his own tail seemed to move through syrup. Then he pushed. His divine key surged. Time still tried to hold him, but it was like ropes around a storm. It slowed him, but it did not stop him. He moved through the thick air step by step toward Thanos. Thanos' eyes widened. Impossible, he growled. He twisted the gauntlet. Space folded. The stars behind Beerus jumped in front of him. The ground tilted. Gravity shifted sideways. Beerus slid slightly, then dug his foot into nothing and held. You forget, Beerus said, voice calm even in warped time. I am not from here. Your stones bind your rules, not mine. He shot forward. Thanos summoned shields from the reality stone, thick, layered walls in front of him. Beerus punched through the first, the second, the third. By the fourth, the punch slowed. Thanos used power and space together, slamming a beam into Beerus's chest, knocking him back. Beerus grunted as he flew, more out of annoyance than pain. He rolled in midair, twisted, and fired a small Hakai sphere toward the gauntlet. Thanos threw his hand up. The Hakai touched the gauntlet's gold surface. Metal began to flake away. Not the stones. Not yet. The glove itself. Thanos yelled and poured raw stone power into the spot. Jets of color, red, blue, green, yellow, orange, purple, rushed against the erasure, trying to push it back. For a moment, they balanced. Beerus's destruction pressed in. The stone's will pressed out. Uatu watched, silent, as two different kinds of rule fought. Finally, Beerus withdrew the Hakai. He did not want to risk what would happen if he fully erased the gauntlet here. The shock might crack too many things. But the mark it left was deep. The gold under the stones was scarred, twisted. The perfect harmony between them wobbled. Thanos felt it. The stones still obeyed him, but less cleanly. They buzzed in his mind, like someone had turned up the static. You cannot control everything, Beerus said. Not even with that. Not against me. He floated closer, slowly now. Here is what will happen, Beerus said. You will run. You will hide. You will scheme. You will come back to this world again and again, because you cannot stand that it exists without your hand on it. He pointed down, toward where Earth would be, somewhere beyond this fake starfield. If you come back with that glove and try to freeze their future, Beerus said, I will stop you, not for them alone, for my own peace. Your idea of balance is too noisy. Thanos' teeth bared. You think you can be their guardian? He asked. You, a destroyer? Beerus' eyes glowed. Guardian, he said. No, I am not their hero. I am not their king. I am their last line. If everything breaks, if no one else stands, then I will decide what to erase. Not you, not some giant metal judge. Me. The stones pulsed again. Thanos could feel the truth in Beerus' words. This god would not sit on a throne. He would not build systems. He would simply be there at the edge, watching. It enraged him. He took a step back. You will regret this, Thanos said. I regret many things, Beerus said. This will not be one of them. Thanos looked at Uatu. And you, he said. You watch. You never act. You let him take this role without question. Uatu's voice was calm. Better a destroyer who knows he is one, he said. than a savior who lies to himself. Thanos laughed once, a dry, bitter sound. Very well, he said. He snapped his fingers. Not with full gauntlet power, not the universe-shaking snap he had used before. This snap was for himself. Space folded around him, taking him away to some hidden corner of reality where the stone still had the strongest hold. He vanished. The fake starfield broke apart. Beerus and Uatu hung in empty, honest space again. Far below, Earth turned, unaware of the words spoken here. Uatu looked at Beerus. "You have chosen," the Watcher said. Beerus shrugged. "I chose not to join him," he said, "and not to leave. That seems enough." "The tribunal will feel your choice," Uatu said. "So will others." Beerus snorted. "The tribunal can talk to someone else for a while," he said. "I am tired of lectures." He looked down at the blue world. "I will watch," he said quietly. He did not say, "I will protect." He did not say, "I will love." But the promise was there, in his posture, in the way he did not turn away. Uatu nodded once. "Then I will watch you," he said. He faded, leaving Beerus alone. A moment later, Whis appeared beside him, shaking his head slightly. "I had to unwrap 4 layers of stone tricks to find you," Whis said. "Very rude of him." "He tried to hire me," Beerus said. "He failed," Whis smiled. "Of course he did," he said. "You are not easy to hire." They floated together for a moment, side by side. "Are you done?" Whis asked. "With this universe?" Beerus looked down at Earth, at the tiny glow of cities, at the soft hum of billions of lives. "No," he said. "Not yet." When Beerus returned, they were waiting. Not with weapons raised, not in battle formation. In the hangar of the Avengers compound, the main team stood in a loose line. Steve, Tony, Thor, Bruce, Natasha, Carol, Wanda, Strange, Rhodey, Peter. They watched as a purple blur dropped from the sky and slowed at the last second to land lightly on the floor. Beerus straightened and looked at them. "You had a meeting without me," he said. Tony spread his hands. "We figured whatever you were doing was above our pay grade," he said. "But we wanted to hear from you, from your own mouth. Do we have a future? Or should we start packing bags for another universe?" Bruce muttered. "We don't actually have another universe." "Details," Tony said. Steve stepped forward. "You talked to Thanos," he said. "We felt the stones. Strange saw something. The Watcher appeared. What happened?" Beerus considered how to answer. He could say, "I scared him away." That would be easy. It would turn their fear into awe. He could say, "I made a deal." That would be a lie. He decided on the truth. "He offered me a job," Beerus said, "to help him freeze your universe into something he calls balanced. Endless control, no surprises. No boredom for him." Tony winced. "That sounds like him," he said. "And?" Steve asked. "I said no," Beerus said. "I told him I would not be his partner. And I told him that if he comes back here with that glove to force his idea of peace on you again, I will stop him." Carol's shoulders dropped a little. "That's good," she said. "I think." Thor stepped forward, eyes bright. "So you stand with us," he said, "against the Titan." Beerus flicked his ear. "I stand where I choose," he said. "Sometimes that will be at your side. Sometimes it will not. Do not mistake me for your soldier." Wanda watched him carefully. "But you care enough to warn us," she said. Beerus did not answer. Strange stepped closer. "And us?" he asked. "This world, this universe, what are we to you now?" Beerus looked at them. At the man in the flag suit who would not bend. at the genius with tired eyes who still joked anyway, at the thunder god who had lost his home but found new ones, at the hulking scientist who feared himself and still fought, at the spy who saw angles in every room, at the woman who burned like a star, at the witch who shook when she thought about her own power, at the soldier in the machine armor, ready to fall again if he had to, at the kid in red and blue, hands twitching, eyes full of both fear and trust, at the sorcerer who knew too much, the loud mortals. He took a slow breath. "You are under my eye," Beerus said, "not as subjects, not as toys, as something I am interested in." Tony blinked. "Is that God speak for, 'I guess I like you'?" he asked. Beerus glared. "Do not push it," he went on. "If your world rots beyond repair," Beerus said, "if you let someone like him snap your choices away again, I will act. I will erase what I must so the rest does not collapse. But as long as you keep fighting for your own balance, I will not end you just because you are loud." Steve nodded slowly. "We can live with that," he said. Peter raised his hand. So, are you like our cosmic backup now?" he asked. "Like last lifesaver?" Beerus tilted his head. "If that helps you sleep," he said. "Think of me as the thing that stops the worst from staying, not the thing that solves everything." Bruce smiled faintly. "We're not really used to anyone solving everything anyway," he said. "So this fits." Thor lifted his hammer. "Then let us toast," he said, "to a god who decided not to kill us." "I never thought I'd say those words and feel good about them." Tony snorted. "Friday, mark the calendar," he said. "Day the Space Cat agreed not to erase us without a meeting first." Beerus's ear twitched. "I heard that," he said. Peter whispered, "Sorry." But there was a different feeling in the room now. Fear, yes, but also something like shared weight. They all knew the truth. They lived in a universe with a god of destruction watching over them, and that was terrifying. And in a strange way, comforting too. Night in New York. The city glowed with lights and moving cars. Sirens wailed in the distance. Music poured out of open windows. On a rooftop, Beerus lay on his back again, staring up at the sky. He had chosen a building not too high and not too low. High enough that he could see the city spread out like glitter. Low enough that he could hear a little of its noise. Beside him sat Spider-Man, legs dangling over the edge. Peter had his mask off. The night air ruffled his hair. They sat in silence for a while. "You ever get bored of looking at stars?" Peter asked at last. Beerus shrugged. "Sometimes," he said. "Sometimes they look the same. Sometimes they change. It depends on how you feel when you look." Peter nodded. "I mostly just think, wow, that's a lot," he said. "And also, please don't let any of them fall on my head." Beerus snorted softly. Peter swung his legs. "Can I ask you something?" he said. "You already did," Beerus said. "But go on." Peter looked at his hands. "Are you going to destroy us?" he asked quietly. "Like, ever? Is that just hanging over us forever?" Beerus did not answer right away. He listened. He could hear a couple arguing in an apartment below. Someone laughing at a joke, a baby crying, a song on a radio. He thought about Thanos' vision of a frozen, perfect universe. Then he thought about this one. "No," Beerus said. "Not just because I can. Not as a habit. Not as my first choice." Peter turned his head. "But maybe as your last?" he asked. "If you stop fighting," Beerus said. "If you let someone like him turn you into numbers on a chart again. If you break your own world so badly that all you do is repeat it, wrong, over and over, then I might erase parts of it to stop the noise from ripping everything else apart. He glanced at Peter. "But as long as you keep doing what you do," Beerus said, "swinging around, catching criminals, helping old ladies with groceries, yelling at me for eating your snacks, I do not see a reason to erase that." Peter blinked. "So, we get to live as long as we're annoying in a good way." Beerus actually smiled. It was small, but real. "Yes," he said. "Annoying in a good way." They sat in silence again. Below, a siren got louder. Peter stood. "That's my cue," he said. "Bank robbery. Or maybe another guy dressed as a rhino. Hard to keep track." He pulled his mask back on, then hesitated. He dug into a little backpack at his feet and pulled out a small plastic bowl. He set it down near Beerus's side. This is a joke," Peter said quickly. "Not an insult, I swear. Just thought it might make you laugh." The bowl had tiny cartoon fish on the side. Peter took a small carton from his bag and poured in milk. He stepped back, hands up. "You absolutely do not have to drink it," he said. "I will deny everything if you tell anyone." Beerus stared at the bowl. His ear flicked. Peter's spider sense buzzed slightly. He prepared to jump if he had misjudged. Beerus sighed. "You mortals," he said, "always pushing." He picked up the bowl very delicately between two fingers. He brought it to his lips and took one slow sip. It was simple, cold, plain. He set the bowl back down. "Do not tell the Thunder God," Beerus said. "He will never let me hear the end of it." Peter grinned under the mask. "My lips are sealed," he said. He fired a web and swung off into the night, yelling, "Space Cat, on night watch," as he went. "I heard that too," Beerus muttered. But his tail was twitching in a way that meant he was not truly angry. Up on the moon, Watu watched. He saw Spider-Man swing over the city. He saw Doctor Strange close a fragile crack at the edge of reality with careful hands. He saw Doom, deep in his castle, staring at his failed Hakai mirror, planning the next attempt anyway. He saw Thanos in a cold place between stars, clutching a slightly damaged gauntlet, eyes narrowed, already thinking of new angles. He saw children drawing gods and heroes in crayon, adding a purple figure to the team. He saw Beerus on that rooftop, lying back again, hands behind his head. A bowl with tiny fish pictures sat empty beside him. "This universe has changed," Watu said to himself. "A god from another song now hums along with ours. The judges are not who they were. The threats are not what they were." He looked up, beyond, toward where the living tribunal watched all things. "The balance is different," Watu said, "but perhaps it is not worse." He turned his gaze back to Earth. Lights flickered. Lives moved. The world kept turning. Far above the planet, in the black space between orbits, a small purple figure drifted. Beerus floated on his back again, eyes half closed. Wiz hovered a little distance away, reading a strange glowing scroll that was really data from several universes. "Thinking, Lord Beerus?" Wiz asked. "I was," Beerus said. "Then the thinking got loud. Now I am just listening." "To what?" Wiz asked. Beerus closed his eyes fully. "To them," he said. "To this world. To its noise." Below, the planet buzzed. Arguments, laughter, plans, mistakes. Small acts of kindness that nobody would ever see. Tiny cruelties that would be forgiven. Big battles. Quiet nights. Life. Wiz smiled. "And do you like the song?" he asked. Beerus did not answer for a while. Then he spoke. "It is less boring than most," he said. Wiz laughed softly. "That," he said, "is the highest praise I've heard you give in centuries." Beerus's tail flicked. "Do not tell the others," he said. "They will get ideas." Whis bowed his head. "Of course," he said. They drifted in silence. The earth turned slowly beneath them, blue and green and full of light. The stars watched from far away. Somewhere, far out, a titan planned. Somewhere else, a doctor tinkered with dangerous patterns. And over it all, a god of destruction watched a universe that he had chosen not to erase. Not today. Not while it kept singing this strange, messy, stubborn song.